what is Oregon's identity right now heading into this game against the BYU Cougars?
I think they're still trying to figure that out. I think they're trying to figure out really what they've got with Bo Nix, really who they've got to be maybe that star running back, or if they are going to continue with this running back by committee style of play that we've seen the past couple of games. So I think Oregon's still trying to really figure that out. I think everyone's going to be waiting to see kind of what they come out with. Are they going to come out with more run heavy, or is it going to be much more kind of a pass happy offense? Because we've heard Dan Lanning say that the Ducks are looking to create a lot more explosive plays. I believe what he said, he wants to turn those plays of 15 yards into plays of 30 yards. So we'll see if that's coming more in the style of the run or in the style of the pass. I think that everyone's going to be wanting to see the pass, but we'll see what happens come Saturday.
Yeah, and I think that Oregon, even though they are kind of undergoing a little bit of an identity change with this new coaching staff, new coordinators on both sides of the ball, I feel like they're going to be a run first team. I know that Dillingham's talked about wanting to have a balanced attack, get guys in one-on-one matchups. But if the run's working, I feel like that's definitely going to be something that you want to lean on, especially since you don't necessarily know what you're going to get out of your quarterback on a game-to-game, week-to-week basis. We're going to talk more about Bo Nix later in the show. But I was watching some of that Baylor BYU game, Mark, and Baylor was able to run the ball, relatively easily against BYU in that defensive front. I'm not saying it's a bad or a weak defensive front, but I bring that up to say that Baylor, was able to really pound the rock against BYU, and I think that's going to go a long way in just helping this Oregon offense get into a rhythm. We saw Bucky Irving kind of emerge as the lead back or the feature back in terms of the number of carries. But dude, that Oregon backfield looks really, really promising. You got guys that can contribute from top to bottom. Byron Cardwell scored rushing and receiving touchdowns last week. Sean Dollars looks awesome after missing all of last season with an injury. I remember that Byron Cardwell in spring ball said that you couldn't tell that Sean had gotten hurt at any point, and he looks great. And then you have Noah Whittington, who comes in and scores a touchdown as well. You even had Keeloana Hassenritter, Hilo from Hilo, getting his first college touchdown after transferring over from Hawaii. We didn't see any of Jordan James, the freshman out of the state of Tennessee from the 2022 recruiting class. He led the team in carries against Georgia, but little hard to take too much from that because it was such a blowout game. But I say all that. I think that it's like you're saying, it is still a work in progress what Oregon's identity is right now, because they've had those two extremes. You test yourself with the best of the best, with the defending national champions on the road in Atlanta, or neutral site if you want to call it that, but we all know it wasn't. And then you have Eastern Washington, which usually has been pretty highly regarded as an FCS team. But I wasn't expecting it to be that much of a blowout. So from my end of things, it's a little bit hard to tell, is that more good Oregon, or is Eastern Washington maybe not what they were cracked up to be after, a narrow win over Tennessee State the week prior?
Yeah, I think Oregon definitely is still, going through that identity crisis. And just for Oregon, just you can't really judge this team off of just those two like you said, off those two extremes. You get whacked, and then you hit back the next week. And I also agree with you. I wasn't expecting that game to be that bad. I thought Oregon was going to win that game. I didn't think it was going to be that bad, though, or that it would take that long for Eastern Washington to score. And yeah, Oregon's running back room, like you said, looked great. We saw last week a lot of the guys get those reps, and a lot of guys get a lot of carries. I think, was it 2 guys got 9? I think 3 got 8. A couple got 7 as well. So you had a lot of diversity amongst the running backs. And I think that could, if Oregon's looking to go more run heavy this week, I think that's something that they could use to their advantage, be able to kind of mix it up, keep that BYU defense on their toes, and try and keep the guys as fresh as they can be, so that they can be able to contribute longer in the game and down the season.
Yeah, it just helps you too. You have that raw numbers advantage of just being able to have fresh bodies. It seems like Lanning's been asked about the whole running back by committee approach, and it's still a work in progress. And he was kind of saying, if we have guys that we think can contribute, we're going to find ways to get them involved. So yeah, it was a really solid effort. 263 rushing yards against Eastern Washington. And then on a similar note, in the passing game, Oregon's looking like they're, set up to be a much more effective passing team from last year. You have Eric here right on point talking about Terrence Ferguson, one of our offensive players of the game last week. Only had 3 catches, Mark, but he had 2 touchdowns. And one of them was, bobbling the ball after the Eastern Washington defender, had it hit off of his hands, and then he barreled over a couple guys en route to a touchdown. And then Cam McCormick got his first touchdown since forever, wearing Spencer Webb's 18 in his first game back at Autzen after battling injury for quite some time. So I think you see the running game looking promising, the tight ends looking to get more involved. Troy Franklin having a heck of a game with 10 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown. So it just feels like they have a lot of promising options, regardless of what position you're looking at, to really have guys step up and make an impact. And then if you can get guys blow these games wide open like they did against Eastern, then you can see some of those younger guys like Ty Thompson, Jay Butterfield coming in. Kyler Casper got some snaps. Josh Connerly got some snaps. So I think that would really help this team if they are able to kind of blow things open against BYU. But this is really their last big test before things get going in conference play as a non-conference slate comes to an end here.
Yeah, I don't think that this game's going to get blown quite as wide open as that Eastern Washington game. But I think definitely if towards the end and Oregon has a comfortable lead, maybe they can bring in some more of those guys to try and get that experience. But I think definitely that depth is going to be something that that Dillingham and Lanning are going to really rely on in this for this offense to really try and get something going.
We've talked a lot about the offense. Let's just talk about the defensive identity a little bit right now, Mark. No turnovers against Georgia, almost no positives that you can really draw from that game from a defensive standpoint. They talked about the perimeter just getting absolutely destroyed on the perimeter on both sides of the ball. Open field tackling was a huge issue. Lanning's talking about open field is kind of where they're getting exposed as a defense right now. But they have a lot of depth at the interior defensive line, even after losing Popo Amavai to a season-ending foot injury that required surgery. So I think that they still have that ability to be, a tough, hard-nosed defense in the trenches, but they haven't proven that they can get after the quarterback on a consistent basis. Again, I think part of that comes with the 2 extremes that they've played so far this season. But they've also played 2 teams that get the ball out pretty quickly. And Dan Lanning was asked about the pass rush, and he was saying that I don't really care how many sacks we get. I care about how many wins we get. And then when we have the opportunity for sacks, we got to be able to finish those plays and take advantage of those opportunities. And I would tend to agree because that finishing plays has definitely been an area that Oregon struggled for quite a while.
Absolutely. Looking at both those games, the Georgia game and the Eastern Washington game, there was a lot of problems. There was a lot of problems tackling, a lot of high tackling, a lot of arm tackling. And that's not how you get somebody down in football. You gotta tackle low. They always tell you that. I hear that all the time from Bob Warner on up to pros. Tackle low. Don't try and get the guy up top. Get him down low. And that is something absolutely that Oregon's going to need to do. Jaron Hall, the BYU quarterback, he's coming in after that big one. He's going to be confident. And Oregon just needs to be able to Oregon, I think, is just going to need to be able to rattle him. Hall was sacked twice last week against from Baylor, and I think Oregon's going to need to really chase after him, get him uncomfortable, and just be more aggressive overall. Because we haven't seen a lot of sacks really at all, if any, I think, from this Oregon team so far. And especially as you're getting in towards conference play, you've got to be able to get after the quarterback to potentially help swing momentum in a big game. And this is certainly a game where that could come into play.
Yeah, they were able to get a pair of sacks, I believe, in week 2 against Eastern Washington, but like we said, a hard game to assess too much from. But they did get 2 takeaways. Triquez Bridges almost returned it for a touchdown, and before he fumbled it right before the end zone. So there you have it. Just kind of where Oregon's identity is at right now, heading into this game.